Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Dubcast. Today in this episode I'm joined by a very special guest, my sister. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Allie.
Okay, nice. So in this episode we're going to be giving every NBA team an off-season grade through trades, free agency, and the draft. So let's jump right in.
Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it.
Welcome to the Dub Cast.
Starting this off, we're gonna go alphabetically. So we'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. So for each one, I wrote down everyone they added, like people who score more than like 5 points a game. I'll make note of, and then the other ones we can kind of just fly through. Same for losses. So Hawks, they add Zachary Risacher, number 1 pick. What'd you think about that? I'm kind of out on that pick. I don't know. I don't think it's good.
I don't know. I don't know what they're supposed to do in that situation. If Sarr didn't want to go there, he should have been like a top 4, 5, 6 pick, but not 1.
Yeah, well, they just said they wanted Reed Shepherd. He has like Mahomes level talent.
Yeah, that was a weird take to me too.
Well, I think Shepherd's better than Zachary. I don't know anything about Zachary. So, all right, starting off questionable. Another notable move they made is the DeJounte Murray trade. So he was averaging like 22, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And what they got back for him is 2 first rounds, Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, and then E.J. Liddell, Ohio State, and Cody Zeller. So none of those pieces jump out to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was kind of a mid-trade for both sides. The Pelicans definitely got better, but I just think this puts the Hawks in like a weird middle-tier position where they're not going to win, they're not going to contend, but they're also not going to be the worst team in like the East or in their division necessarily. Like they're just very mid. They're like in between a rebuild and a contention-ish spot.
They also lost Sadiq Bey, who averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. So I agree with you. I think I classify it as like a soft rebuild because they still have Trae Young and they're still trying to win, but they're not really like gonna be like they're probably gonna be in the play-in maybe. I think a couple East teams got better, so we'll see. So my official grade for them was a C minus.
Really? I was nicer. I gave them a B minus.
What? Well, what did you like? Like I had to have liked something. I'm looking
like
at this.
winning the draft is big, even though I don't agree.
That's
with
not
the
like
pick.
them though. That's just a lottery.
Yeah, but
the ping pong balls.
I don't know. I think they're gonna put some butts in some chairs. Risa Shea, however you say it, is gonna sell tickets, even though he's just not great. People are gonna show up to see the number 1 overall pick. I don't know.
So is this about selling tickets or is this about winning basketball?
It's about overall.
How?
I don't know. I don't hate the pick. I don't love it.
I don't know anything about him, but I think like the trade they made was pretty bad. They didn't get anyone back of notice. They picked up like some 7th graders, a high schooler. Sadiq Bey is like a good player. They lost him. I think they don't really like. Didn't get like they had a 2-headed monster kind of in Murray and Trae Young. They're not replacing his scoring at all. They didn't sign anybody like.
Yeah,
Dyson
but where
Daniels.
did that 2-headed monster get them? A 10th seed?
True, but it's like they're still just gonna be middling. So I don't know. I don't like their direction. So that's where I have C minus.
Yeah, I think they need to get rid of Trae and just restart.
Yeah, well, we're filming this July 20th, so they could trade Trae Young and go full rebuild. We'll see. But for now, I'm at a C minus, and you said
B minus.
B minus. All right, we'll wrap up with the Hawks. So moving on, we have Boston Celtics, the reigning NBA champs. Called on this podcast, Celtics over Mavs in finals. So
I bet on that too.
Sure. Anyways, we're both big Celtics fans. So a little bit about what the Celtics did. For their re-signs, they re-signed Jason Tatum to the Supermax contract, gave Derek White an extension, re-signed Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta, Luke Cornett, and then Drew Peterson and J.D. Davison, who I don't think they really played anyways. In the draft, they added Baylor Shireman in the first round and Anton Watson in the second round. So what do you think of their like re-signing and adding?
I like the Baylor pick. The re-signs are obviously good. Where is O'Shea Brissett at? Syracuse legend.
He's still a free agent. And, so the Celtics are a brief one, so I'll just say their losses are only O'Shea and Svi. So it's like, those are the only 2 guys that have walked. O'Shea, did he play in the regular season? I don't think he really played.
Yeah, he did. He got like not totally garbage minutes. Like he played. He was like with Peyton Pritchard whenever he would be like, not totally garbage minutes, but like not a real player either. He played in the Pacers series, right?
Yeah, like he had one good game.
Yeah.
So I think Shireman can replace him, and then
Definitely.
Anton Watson, I don't know anything about. I don't like the pick because he's from Gonzaga, and I hate Gonzaga, so I'm out on that one. But Tatum Supermax, I mean, you're obviously going to have to give that to him. He's at least, most reasonable people would say, a top 10 NBA player.
Top 8.
Derek White extension, people were saying that was too much money, but you got to repay your core. I mean, this team just won a championship, so bring back all the core pieces. So where I landed on this, I gave them an A.
Same. I will say though, given Jaylen Brown's little fits on Twitter, this team chemistry has me a little concerned. I'm gonna keep it a hundo.
They just won a championship.
Yeah, but why the hell is his teammate Can I swear?
Yeah.
His teammate gets picked for Team USA and he throws a fit, and then he gets caught talking shit about Bronny James. The Rich Paul, like, people are gonna come for him.
That was just dumb. The Bronny thing was dumb. The Derek White thing, I'm not gonna excuse that. I mean, you don't need to say that on Twitter. You can say that privately.
Exactly.
And he's in all the stuff with Stephen A. I think there is some smoke to him being like not a good teammate or not. Like, I think he's a good teammate. It's just like
I think he's just selfish in a way.
I think people don't want to play with him for some reason. And
I love you, Jaylen. I'm gonna get your jersey for Christmas. The Twitter nonsense. That's your teammate. If it's anyone else, if they had picked, say, Kyrie Irving to replace Kawhi in that, go at it. I don't care. And I know part of it is the Nike stuff because you spoke out against them when the Kyrie stuff was going down in like 2022 or whatever. I get it. The Twitter stuff needs to stop. That's your teammate. That just got re-signed long term, as well as you are also re-signed. And him commenting on the Team USA thing of Anthony Edwards saying #1 option.
What did he say? I missed this one.
He just commented on a picture of Edwards saying #1 option, which people thought was like a diss to Tatum. I don't think it's like a diss. It's just like, where's the credibility to your teammates?
Well, I think no matter what, they already got a championship. They're good. I think the Jays are good.
I agree.
Jalen seems like he's a little bit of a diva, so I mean
That's
something to watch moving forward.
But maybe part of his personality is what makes him such a good player on the court too.
Yeah.
That he's just aggressive overall.
Well,
Gameplay,
I don't
personality.
want to dive too deep into things because there's still some offseason.
I like you, Jalen. I like the diva.
But I think that we have some interruptions. I think looking at everything, I still think they're the favorites to come out of the East pretty easily.
Definitely.
I mean, we'll get into the other teams later, but I thought this was a solid offseason for them. Paid all their guys. Do you want to talk about Wick Grosbeck signing the team? Is that important?
Yeah, actually, that's a good one too. Like the week after the parade, I was at the parade and I saw Wick. He, looked at me and everything.
He looked at you.
And then, I don't understand that one. If it depends on who buys it. Like I think he's still the owner until 2028 or something.
Yeah.
So like by that time, I think the championship window will still be open, but probably not as open as like the favorites that they are right now. So I don't know. I'm a little confused by that one, but only the future can tell with that. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, and hope that someone with a lot of money that's willing to spend takes care of the team.
Well, I heard that it's not actually him who even owns the team. It's like his dad, and I think that they wanted to get out because the new broadcasting deal.
Oh.
So they're like, I mean, I think someone in the group's gonna take over. So I think that's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm just confused, I think.
Yeah, it's something to worry about.
Yeah.
All right. So next team is the Brooklyn Nets. Re-signs. They brought back Nick Claxton, who gives 11 and 10. Trendon Watford, 7 points a game. And then, do you want to just anything on those two guys quick before we jump into their big move of the offseason?
I didn't hate the Claxton deal money-wise.
I did not look at the salary cap. I'm usually a salary cap guy, but I think everything's so inflated now. It's like whatever, get your money, go do it. So
I don't think it's much of an overpay though for a quality center.
Yeah, I like Nick Claxton. Thought that was a good resign. The big move obviously for the Nets is trading Mikal Bridges. They get back Bojan Bogdanovic, who averages 15, 2 and 2. Shake Milton, who hasn't done much. And then a whopping 5 first-round picks, an additional swap, and a second for this trade from Mikal Bridges. So what did you think about this trade, just net side?
I think they won. I think it was a really good trade on their end to just go into a full rebuild. And, I mean, I don't think that we're going to look at it in 4 years or whatever and say it's like equivalent to the Shea trade with the Thunder and the Clippers for Paul George. with all the picks, but because I just don't think that the Knicks picks will have as much value. I mean, maybe they will. We probably said the same thing about the Clippers, but I don't know. I don't getting rid of Mikal Bridges and getting that much of a return for a player that is probably not even top 20 in the league, like respectfully, is a win for sure. So
Yeah.
Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
I think those first round picks are super important. They also got Mamadi Diakite, but he's been traded. So I agree with you. I think that was a good trade for the Nets. Doesn't seem like they're really going anywhere. They have a couple young good guys like Cam Thomas, but he's like kind of mid now, I think. I don't know.
Didn't they trade back into the draft this year? No, maybe I'm
No, they
tripping.
don't have any pick. They don't have any picks.
Yeah,
in the
you're
draft.
right. You're right.
So I like to trade for them, and then on the losses side, they traded away Kaden Bates Diop, Jacob Gilliard.
Ohio State legend.
But they also lost Jacob Gilliard, Keon Johnson, Dennis Smith Jr., who I didn't know was still in the league, Lonnie Walker, and then they made another trade, trading Diakite to the Grizzlies for Zaire Williams yesterday, who averages 8, 4, and 2. Seems like he was kind of a failed draft pick. What do you have on Zaire Williams?
Nothing. Just
I don't.
could be something like a role player.
Could be like a project. I don't know. I just don't know anything about
I think
him.
he's probably past his project area.
He's only like 3 or 4 years in the league, I think.
I think he's going into his third year maybe, but I don't know.
Probably a good buy low deal for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall, I gave them a B. That might be a little low, talking it through, but I like the Claxton re-sign. I thought they got a really good return for Bridges. They just didn't have any drafts picks, so they're not really getting young players yet. Bojan can be good off the bench and be like a good veteran in the locker room, and they get to rebuild their draft capital that's been depleted.
I gave him a B plus.
B plus, that's probably
Yeah.
fair. All right, so
That's it.
yeah, solid offseason for the Brooklyn Nets. Moving on to the Charlotte Hornets. Not much action here. Re-signing Miles Bridges and Seth Curry, I did not know was still in the league. Miles Bridges gives 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Is a complete scumbag though, right? Miles Bridges. So questionable ethics. So through the draft, they traded for Josh Green, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. They signed Reggie Jackson, and they also picked Tidjane Saloon
I just have him as Saloon, yeah.
and KJ Simpson in the second round. They added 2 second-round picks. So what did you think about their re-signs and then also picks / free agency?
Like, for the Miles Bridges part, I understand the re-sign for the team, but I just think overall there's certain players in this league like that just should not be playing basketball straight up, should not have a job. But for the direction of your team with as many young people as you have, and not that Brandon Miller has problems off the court anymore, but given his past issues, I just don't know if Miles Bridges is the best influence necessarily in that locker room. I don't think he's a good influence in any locker room at all, but with a very young core that they've had these issues with Kai Jones too. Like they just need some direction, some veteran leadership, I think, and I don't know. I understand
Reggie Jackson
it for,
could help. They just brought him in. What is is he not a good guy?
No, you know what? Maybe that's what they need. I don't know. I just don't like the Bridges deal because I don't like him. That's that.
fair. I mean, questionable ethics.
Yeah.
What
They got
about
that Celtics assistant coach though, which
Oh yeah, Charles Lee.
Charles Lee. Yeah.
I guess I didn't include that part. I don't even know because NBA coaches I feel like are just whatever. What about? Do you know anything about Tidjane Saloon?
He was mocked in all those mock drafts to go 12 to the Thunder. So I think that was a complete reach, complete project. He wears short ass shorts. They're like up his booty. Yeah, it's what the French kids be doing. I don't know. He's French. He was part of that like French tirade throughout the. I don't know.
There's 3 of them. Wow.
I think it was Sar. I don't care.
Isn't Ristacher?
Yeah, however you say it. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that the pick should have been Klingon, since Mark Williams is a good piece, but he has major injury issues. I don't know. I just don't understand adding another wing. You re-sign Bridges, you have Brandon Miller. I don't really understand that.
Well, and I actually really like the Josh Green pickup.
True.
I think he's a good what is he, like 2 or 3 years in the league now? I think
Yeah.
2020, so.
And they have like Grant Williams, who I don't know what he's doing either.
Fuck Grant Williams. Sorry. Anyways. So, yeah, I don't know about the draft picks because I just don't know who they are. And then On the losses side, they lost Amari Bailey. Just tell me if any of these names stick out. Davis Bertans, Marquez Bolden, Bryce McGowans, Alexej Pokuzev, and JT Thor. So where I landed on this, I gave them a B. I thought fine re-signing Bridges, questionable ethics, but he's decent at basketball. I like the ads of Reggie and Josh Green. Just don't know the picks, and they didn't really lose anybody, so I said fine, B.
I gave him a C. The saloon pick was just terrible. It should have been someone. Could have been Buzelis. If you're going for so many people here, he was just a complete reach, and he's a project, and that's not a team that needs a project.
The Hornets, they have nothing to play for.
Exactly. So why did you take on another project? I don't know. I just think there's gonna be a lot of questions with their health, and until they can get that figured out, taking on a project as well is not. I don't like the pick. That's it. I just don't think that they have much going for them either, but I don't know. If LaMelo plays 50 games, they're probably in the play-in. And maybe that's what a team like them needs, so just experience like that. But I don't think he even plays. Didn't he play 2 games this whole season?
I don't know. This is not. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they'd miss the playoffs again.
Yeah.
It's a rudderless ship over there. Need some. Hopefully Charles Lee can help them out. I thought this offseason was fine. We'll see what happens. Building something maybe, but doesn't really seem like it. All right, moving on. We have the Chicago Bulls. Resigns. Patrick Williams, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Didn't they give him ridiculous amount of money?
Yeah. He was the 4th overall pick in 2021.
Yeah, but
maybe?
that doesn't mean.
He's injured too. He's always injured.
Does he do things that are not show up on the stat sheet or?
He's a good piece. I just don't think he's worth all the money. I don't know what the deal is, but it was definitely a bit of a crazy one. Yeah.
So besides that, their ads, they picked Buzelis, who you just mentioned, number 11. They traded for Chris Duarte. Did the trade for Josh Giddey, which I guess we can just attack that after. Jalen Smith they signed, and then they picked up 2 seconds, trading away DeRozan. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the draft?
Let's go draft and
okay.
Signings, and then we'll talk about the Giddey stuff.
So draft, I don't know this guy, another French guy.
He's not. Buzelis is not French.
All right. What is he? Serbian? Lithuanian?
Yeah, Lithuanian.
Czech Republic? Okay. I don't know anything about him.
He's from Chicago, though. He grew up in Chicago.
Okay, so nice hometown cooking there.
Probably not going to be good, though.
Well, what was the 11th pick? So I don't... all I know is the college guy, so I don't know. You can speak on this. You think he's going to be good or no?
I think he'll honestly have a really good rookie season, but just...
What position does he play?
He's a wing. He's 6'9". He can play 3 or 4 probably.
And I feel
he just can't shoot though, and that's the issue with Giddey. But we'll get into that.
So yeah,
it's not a bad pick. Him overall, he doesn't really fit well with the whole team identity at this point. On the floor, I mean.
What even is their identity?
They have no spacing. That's their biggest issue. They have no shooters. So their identity is gonna have to be
Kobe.
No, their identity is gonna have to be just layups, hardball. I feel like.
Why'd they get rid of DeRozan? He's a mid-range change.
He wanted out, and what are they doing with Zach LaVine? Who knows?
Yeah, Zach LaVine probably will be traded. All right, so there's the draft. Anything you want to say about Chris Duarte or Jalen Smith? Jalen Smith has decent numbers. That's a good drum.
I think that was a good pickup.
They lost Drummond, get younger there, replace him. So I thought that was a fine thing.
They got him on a good deal too.
Yeah.
I think.
And then another loss in free agency was Javonte Green, who averages 12 points and 7 rebounds, which I don't.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was like, what? So we'll wrap it up with the Giddey trade. So they add Josh Giddey straight up for Alex Caruso. Giddey averaged 12.6 rebounds, 5 assists, but he didn't really play in the playoffs.
He was unplayable in the playoffs.
And they lose Caruso, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but lockdown defender. Good guy. I've seen him on his podcast. He's a good guy. So just at face value, I kind of like this deal. I don't know. I like picking up Giddey. Obviously, off the court stuff has been solved. I like getting younger, but I feel like they could have gotten more for Caruso. It seemed like there was a bidding war out there for him. But looking at it now, I don't think it's the worst trade in the world. What say you?
Yeah, I don't think it's like the worst trade in the world. I just that like doing that and then drafting Buzelis on top of it. I think he shot like 26% from the three in his G League season. So I don't, and we know Giddey can't shoot anything either. And it's not like Giddey's game outside of the shooting is fine. And if they are gonna like rebuild and try to establish this core together, then I get it. But they're like missing a piece, I think, and that is gonna be like the two position of someone that can shoot and just be like a get hot, do all that. Like none of them really are shooting threats unless Buzelis like develops into that. Who knows? It's hard to say with him. He's looked good in summer league. I know I've seen a lot of highlights, but I just don't know. I don't know how they didn't even get a second round pick in the Caruso trade.
Weird. Well, so why was Giddey unplayable?
Because they would let him shoot. Like they were, who's the Giannis? They always just back off on him when he has the ball like outside of the 3-point line.
Yeah.
They did that to Giddey, and then they would just attack him on. They would switch Dort with Giddey for Luka's like primary defender, and he would just get burned every time. And he would get the ball. I think part of it was mentally. He was just so wound up from everything that went on that he would just get the ball and just not know what to do. I think he was scoring. He averaged like maybe 5 points a game in the Mavericks series. Their first round series against the Pelicans, he wasn't as bad. But I think in the last game 6, they took him out of the starting lineup for Isaiah Joe. Like, he just was not. I don't know. A series like that was just very. We know from PJ Washington shooting like crazy. It was a very like 3-point shooting heavy series, and Giddey just is not that. He never will be that. I don't think he has it in him to develop a shot, even though he's only 21. Like, I just don't think he's a shooter.
We'll see. Time will tell. So last thing is the DeRozan. I guess he was a free agent, so they ended up signing and trading, getting something for him. So on that end, good. But losing their main scorer, he was 24 points. So I don't know. Overall, I landed at a C- for them. I feel like they're just ending for mid, and they're never like taking the next step forward. It seems like they just doing just enough to make like that playoff bubble / last team in, whatever, and they don't really try and do much. I mean, they got younger this year, but they still have Zach LaVine. They still have older players. So I just don't know what the direction is. So I factor that into my grade as well. Would you?
I gave him a D because another point that I didn't touch on is in the one, or they played the 2 playing games. The one where Kobe White put up 40 or whatever, he had the ball like primarily in his hands. Like he was clearly running the point, running all the plays, and adding Giddey to that kind of pushes him to the 2. And Kobe White can shoot it. I just think he's better off the bench, like in that position. And Giddey will now be like the primary ball handler, and that's exactly what you don't want after what Kobe White showed you. I just think their whole spacing, they're gonna have like an identity crisis. Like I just don't know. They're too young to really know who they are. It's just gonna be another mid-year. They'll probably be a 10 seed again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, well, moving on to one of the more boring off seasons is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their highlight of their off season was re-signing Donovan Mitchell. Any thoughts on that extension? It's probably fair. He's obviously showed in the Boston series and in the playoffs. He's a great player. Probably beat the Magic single-handedly and beat the Celtics single-handedly in that one game they won against the Celtics. So fine extension. In the draft, they pick Jalen Tyson at number 20, and then they lost Isaac Okoro. Well, he's still a free agent, so they could sign him back. Marcus Morris, 6 points, and then Amani Bates, Damian Jones, Isaiah Mobley, Pete Nance, Tristan Thompson. We can kind of speed through this one because they didn't do much unless you have more thoughts to add.
Nothing. I gave him a B. I just thought that extending your best player is enough.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't really make any moves outside of that, I think it's enough.
I said B as well. Thought good job keeping Donovan. They didn't lose much really. And who they did lose, Okoro, I think Tyson's a forward, right?
I don't know.
Or is he a guard?
His name is just too much like Jason Tatum. That's all I know about him.
Okay, well, hopefully he's a forward so you can replace him. So both at a B for the Cavs. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks. So this is
big one.
Yeah, they did a lot of things. So first, obviously, we got to start it off by adding Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson gave you 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists last year, and this was part of this like 6-team trade, which I was looking through to do the analysis for this, and it was so hard to follow. But basically, they get um, or they got Clay and a second round pick, and then in the trade they gave away a second round pick, and then also all right, well that's just one trade. So yeah, so just that trade is Clay and a second, and then they lose a second. I don't know. It was really confusing, but we can talk. What do you think about the Clay signing for them?
It's not bad. Like, I don't think that if he was on the team this past year that they still would have beaten the Celtics, maybe 6 games instead of 5. I think he's a little washed, sorry.
I agree.
But I think it's a good piece to add for them. I just don't know if it's the piece, I guess. But I think, outside of that, they added. Do you want to get into that?
Who?
I have Quentin Grimes and
Yeah.
Marshall as good additions.
Yeah.
If you want to get into those deals.
Well, so they traded Quentin Grimes for Tim Hardaway and 3 seconds. Well, they gave away 3 seconds as well to get Grimes, and then they also traded away Josh Green, which we talked about before. So it's kind of like a reshuffling of the deck at wing. They also lost Derek Jones to the Clippers in free agency.
I don't really understand that one.
Which
That was a bit of a question mark. The Derek Jones Jr. How they just let him walk, basically.
yeah, well, I think the idea was like they got him for basically like free, and then he kind of showed out there, and then so they're like replacing him with Clay. What position is Najee Marshall a wing as well?
Yeah.
So it seems like they're just. I know Grimes is a guard, so like they're trading out Hardaway for Grimes, which I like. They're trading out Green and Derek Jones for Clay and Najee, so it's not like terrible, but I don't get that as well. So
Yeah, I guess it's upgrades in a sense, but it's not. Like, I don't think it's the upgrade to put them over the edge to win a championship. Like, I think they're just still missing one more piece or one more, like, combination of something. Like, I think a big part of it is Luka's attitude as well. But we don't really need to get into that, I feel like.
yeah, well that doesn't. Yeah,
Like, that's just my opinion, but...
I think they kind of had a fluke run this year where like things kind of broke their way in the West, where I don't know if that's repeatable.
You picked him, and you're saying it's a fluke?
Yeah. Well, I just like the way things broke. Round 1, Kawhi's already hurt, like right into it. The Thunder haven't played in the playoffs before, and then they don't even have to play I had them beating the Nuggets, which would have been their hardest series to get to the Celtics, but they don't even play the Celtics. They're playing the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are good. They've been through some battles, but like, they won that in like 5 games. They just punched them in the mouth. I don't know. It's just weird how things happened for them. I feel like it's not repeatable. Like, I'd be surprised if they make the finals in the next like 2 or 3 years, if I'm being honest.
That's fair.
So I don't know. I thought the Clay signing is like a good attempt at something. Like he could be good. He could be washed. I don't know. So where I landed, I gave him a B minus. I thought their wings were good before. I said before I like Josh Green. I like Derek Jones Jr. the way he played last year. I know Tim Hardaway gets made fun of, but he did average 14 points a game. So I don't know what that.
He was playing for the Celtics.
Yeah,
every time he was
finals.
in the finals, I was cheering.
I like Quentin Grimes too, so I gave him a B minus. That might be a little conservative.
I gave him an A minus. I thought they
Whoa.
I thought they upgraded in every position. I don't position wise. You can't debate that they didn't get better.
No, they did, but I question moving forward. Is Clay like this grade for me was based off? I think Clay is not going to be as good anymore.
Definitely not. I think he proved that in the play-in game where he shot 0 for 13 or something like that.
Yeah, well, now I'm thinking about it through is I don't know how his defense is, but if he can provide on defense, because Kyrie and Luka are not known for their defensive abilities, so maybe I go a little higher on this. Maybe I'll give him like a B or B.
I think his age is a big part of it too, though. Like the older he gets, the worse. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the Grimes though.
I like
Marshall.
the Grimes for sure. Najee Marshall, I don't know where he really plays into this rotation. If they're gonna be playing Dante Exum, if I don't know. Like, who knows?
Losing seconds, I don't think really matters. So, all right. Well, that's it for the Mavericks. Moving on, we have the Denver Nuggets. Another kind of low-key offseason where there were a couple things to talk about, though. So, re-signs Vlatko Cancer. I don't think he does anything, so we'll move on to the draft. They've picked Deron Holmes II. Anything on him?
No.
Yeah, this draft was especially weak after like the lottery. They lose KCP, big piece, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Also lost Reggie Jackson, who we talked about before, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. They lost DeAndre Jordan, who I don't think plays anymore, Justin Holiday, James Huff, Braxton Key, Colin Gillespie, and all they added was Dario Saric and Duran Holmes. So a more low-key offseason. Obviously, we'll talk about KCP with the Magic, his deal there. But I don't know. I didn't like this for them. I really like the Sarge signing, but I don't like that they just let KCP and Jackson walk. And I know it has to do with like aprons and all that.
Yeah, but I'm confused because I think they bought out Reggie Jackson's contract initially, or they traded to get off of his money, like on purpose, to re-sign KCP, and then they just didn't.
Yeah, I don't. It felt weird because it was like.
Like, I know it's about the new CBA rules. Like, that's what it was, clearly like an apron move to get off of money. Just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, and KCP did get a ridiculous deal, and they have to. I think they're already paying Murray. They're already paying Jokic. They're already paying Porter.
Didn't they also say that they were going to extend Murray and then hasn't done that yet?
I don't know. I don't know about all that. I just think that like the more, like that team. Obviously, you won a championship, but you're losing like the more when you start losing like your KCPs, it's gonna start getting just worse and worse. I think Sarge is a good like player to add, but it's like you're losing Reggie and KCP already. What's next? I don't know. So, do you have any thoughts on like Sarge or anything like that?
No, I mean, I think the KCP loss is significant, and I don't think Christian Brown, I don't know how to say it, and Peyton Watson are there yet to be able to step up and do what he did.
I like Brown. I think he could be, but
in a starting position though, I don't know.
I think so. I like him.
I'll say I gave him a D just because your owner being cheap, or whoever was making these decisions when your championship window is wide open. I just don't like the decision. I don't think that I think they got worse.
I gave him a C+. I just really like I like the Sarge signing. I don't know. I like
Dario. What has Dario Sarge done in the past 3 years of his career?
Average 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He's a shooter. You need Jokic, get a smaller, big around him, helps him shoot. KCP, I think that's a ridiculous contract. I mean, you should try and keep him. I agree, but it's like at the end of the day, we're going to pay like $20 million a year for him. And then Reggie Jackson, like I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets go out and sign like a backup.
Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that.
I didn't put that on here either.
So
that makes them even worse.
Recent trade, they got Russell Westbrook off waivers or for the
Jazz buyout.
It was a buyout, yeah. They got him from free agency. So there you go. So even better. I would actually probably upgrade him to like a B-. I like Russell Westbrook. He's gonna play off the bench. Like I think at this point, the Russell Westbrook we see now, he's not like Lakers Russ where he's trying to do too much. Like I don't follow him specifically, but on the Clippers, like he knew his role. He didn't try and overstep or anything.
That's fair.
I think that's like could be a good signing. I mean, he can come in and give you minutes. You know he's always gonna be fucking playing hard. That's Russell Westbrook's MO, man. And I don't know. I like this pickup for the Nuggets. Low risk, no money. If he doesn't turn out, you can just cut him. I'm sure somebody will trade for him. It seems like he's been traded like 17 times. So I'll upgrade them to a B-, actually.
I'll keep him at a D.
You just don't like Russ.
No, that's not it. I actually like Russell. I just don't. I think they
Do
just
you
got
think
worse.
KCP warrants a D? Like, he's that important? I mean, I guess. I don't know.
With Christian Braun stepping up in your starting position, yeah.
So I guess it just comes down to Braun. I like Braun, so I'm
We saw Peyton Watson off the bench this year. He couldn't do it. Now he's their main bench contributor. It's not happening.
Peyton Watson, maybe not good. Well,
Like,
Russ, main bench.
I guess in a way, you're always going to be contending when you have the best player in the world on your team. I just don't.
And
like,
Murray's been
good, yeah, for sure.
Inconsistent.
But they're running into questions about extensions with MPJ and Aaron Gordon. Like,
I thought they already extended Porter.
No, I think he's up for another one this coming season.
Yeah.
I just think there's a big question mark on their whole season, and they'll probably wouldn't be surprised if they were second round exits once again. Maybe not in a Game 7 where they have the lead going to the fourth quarter fashion, but
the West is weird because like you think about it and you're like, oh, there's all these good teams, but then you talk about the good teams and you're like, oh, they're probably like not good.
I know, yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right, yeah. So we'll go to Detroit. Busy offseason for the Detroit Pistons. So re-signed Cade Cunningham. I'm sure we both agree that's a really good re-signing.
Yeah.
And
he deserves the good money.
We got like 3 pages of ads. No, I'm just kidding. But they did add Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway in
3
that
pages of what?
Ads. Like players added. So they added Tim Hardaway in that trade. Malik Beasley signed. Tobias Harris signed. Wendell Moore through trade. and then they got B-Ball Paul Reed off waivers. So I'll go through the losses really quick too, and then we can talk about the draft after. So they lost Malachi Flynn, best player to ever score 54 points in a game. Evan Fournier gave up Grimes in that trade. Wiseman they lost. Chimsy Metu they lost. And then they lost my boy Buddy Boeheim, Troy Brown, Taj Gibson. What was that? Jared Roden.
I love Buddy Boeheim.
And Stanley Umude. And they also lost a future draft pick in the trade for Wendell Moore. So I really like their signings, honestly. Like, I think they upgraded a lot because, like, all these guys, like Fournier, Flynn, like, Grimes was like, okay, that's probably was not a great trade, but Wiseman is a bum. Metu, like, Noel, these guys are all mid, and you replace them with Tobias Harris. Like, say what you will about Tobias Harris. He averages 17 points a game. I think he'll do better in low pressure. Paul Reed is, like, a good, I don't know how old he is, but he seems like he'll be a good prospect. Malik Beasley is, like, a good piece. And then Tim Hardaway you don't like, but he could be solid, I think, in this role, maybe off the bench here. You keep Cade, and then you have, which Thompson brother? Osser?
Yeah.
Osser.
I think it's Osser.
Osser, sorry.
I don't know.
But I like adding these vet pieces around the young core. Like, compare this to Charlotte. They get
Definitely.
get like your Malik Beasleys, your Tobias Harrises, guys who've been around.
That's a good point.
B-Ball Paul, and then you get rid of all this stuff. So what else? Anything on the signings / losses for you?
No, I like the Tim Hardaway Jr. one. Even though he's one of the worst players to ever touch a basketball, I do think he can help that young core with.
Bro.
Well, Cade doesn't really have shooting issues, but Jaden Ivey and
Ivy.
Thompson twin cannot shoot it to save their lives. Neither can Ron Holland. So I know that they got that new shooting coach too. So maybe that Tim Hardaway, just a shooting, maybe that'll help. I don't know. I think they're gonna have a spacing issue as well as the Bulls.
So let's cut to the draft because you mentioned him. Ron Holland at number 5. The Pistons get the 5th pick again, get screwed in the draft lottery. And then in the second round, they took Bobby Klintman. So I'll let you take over here because I don't know who either of these guys are.
Ron Holland was the worst pick of the. Like, I was screaming when they did it. I think I texted you in all caps being like, what the fuck? I don't know who. Like, I guess in a draft like this, it's okay to take a shot. This is not the shot that I would have taken. The shot that I would have taken would have been Buzelis. Like, Ron Holland is very energetic. Like, he's like a spark type player. He just can't shoot. He turns it over a shit ton. He's a good defender for the most part. Like, he has potential on defense, so he's not like the best. But he was mocked to fall out of the lottery, and taking him at 5 is just an insane reach. But again, I don't know who was even
isn't there
left.
isn't there a guy Troy Weaver? Doesn't he get a lot of credit? Or no? Am I just capping?
What do you mean?
Their like GM is like Troy Weaver, and he gets
Yeah.
like he gets hyped up.
Well, people think he's gonna turn it around. I don't think. Like, I don't know. Well, I think this will be a very telling season for them. I just think overall the Ron Holland draft was not a great pick, but I don't know. Like, I don't know where he falls into this rotation. I don't know where Jaden Ivey falls into this rotation because Jaden Ivey's not been as great as we hoped he would be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I gave him a B+. I didn't hate it. I think they're moving in the right direction for sure. I'm putting pieces around Cade that will help them to win more than 11 games or however many it was.
Yeah, I gave them a B. I like all their signings. I didn't love the Grimes trade, just because I think Grimes could be good, and I thought Harris was overpaid, but it's a decent fit for him, so I landed at a B for them. All right, moving on to my least favorite team in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors. So they did not have a draft pick, so we'll just talk right through their ads. So they add Kyle Anderson, who had their fans screaming on Twitter Spaces. In a sign-and trade, they pick up Buddy Hield. They also signed D'Anthony Melton, and they, through trade, also acquired Lindy Waters. Actually, they did have a second-round pick to use on Quentin Post from BC. He's actually got some good fundamentals. I watched him play at Syracuse a couple times. And then their losses, they lose Sarge to the Nuggets, who we touched on, Chris Paul, who's going to leave for the Spurs, Klay Thompson, obviously their biggest loss the offseason, and then smaller guys like Usman Garaba, Quinones, and Jerome Robinson. So I kind of like this offseason for the Warriors, like, not going to lie. I thought this was a sign that they're ready to change at moment's notice and aren't going to get caught into the Klay Thompson nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly he's washed. Clearly something needed to change for them to move on. That they not even make the playoffs. They were like in the play-in.
Yeah, I think they were the 9 seed and they lost to the.
Yeah, like the
Kings.
Chris Paul
I think
thing.
they
I
were
don't think
10.
that was a fit, especially for the amount of money that
Mm-hmm.
he wants. So I like this offseason replacing Chris Paul with Buddy Hield and D'Anthony, because if you look at like the salary, you like take down his salary, replace that with Buddy Hield and Melton, and then you're asking a lot of Kyle Anderson to replace Klay, but I think there's young guys in that team who've been waiting behind Klay, like Moody, Kuminga, probably someone else I'm missing, but sub in those guys, get younger, start to
They
maybe.
got the Pods guy.
Oh yeah, Podzinski,
And Trace TJD.
Trace Jackson Davis.
The Indiana
Yeah,
kid, yeah.
he's good. So I like this. My thing is that Curry and Draymond are both getting older, so I don't know how that's going to fit with them
Mhm.
wanting to play with young guys, but I'm liking their willingness to change of the guard. So
Yeah,
what
I
say
agree.
you?
I gave him a C plus just because I think that their whole roster is, maybe that was a little too harsh, but their whole roster is on just such different timelines. Like, I don't know if they're contending. I don't know if they're playing to get experience. Like, you got Steph, Buddy Hield, Draymond old. You got Kuminga, all these young people too. Like, the timelines just don't match. So I don't know. Like, I feel like it'll just be like a weird, I don't know where their direction is necessarily. We'll have to see. Like, I don't think that they're realistically contending, but you also have Steph Curry, so it's like,
I give him a B plus. I like their depth, adding like trading the Klay and Paul for like these better or more younger pieces who can contribute as well. They also got rid of big money, so I don't know how Hield's contract works, but I think Anderson and Melton are on like short-term deals, so they might be able to make a run at one last free agency before Curry's done officially. I didn't think the Chris Paul thing worked, obviously, and Klay's washed, so I give him a B plus. I actually really like this offseason for them.
yeah, that's fair.
As much as I hate them.
I don't mind it. Like, I don't know if Kyle Anderson really fits into their shooting scheme, but Draymond doesn't either, so maybe they'll just be able to work around that. Also, that'll be interesting to see how those two get along.
Draymond who?
Kyle Anderson.
Why is Kyle Anderson
I think he
Scrapper?
punched
Oh yeah,
someone.
he did punch somebody.
I forget who. But, yeah, the Klay loss isn't great, but it was time.
Yeah, so I like it.
He would have put him in a position to pay him crazy money for how his skill level right now, like, he's just not who he was, and it's not worth it to pay him for that much.
Hopefully they still lose though, cause fuck Curry. Back to the West, we have the Houston Rockets. We can speed to this one, mostly just the draft. So re-sign Aaron Holiday, gives you 6 points, fine, and then Nathaniel Hinton, Jermaine Samuels, Nate Williams. They add AJ Griffin through a trade, I believe, and they lose Reggie Bullock and Boban, who don't do much. So this one will focus on the draft, where they pick Reed Shepard, number 3, and then they also wanted to make a note of picking up N'Faly Dante, who played for Oregon. So I really like this draft for them. Reed Shepard was the first guy taken off the board who I actually knew and watched in college.
He's been looking really good in summer league.
He's been doing really well in summer league as well. He's a dog.
He might be the best player out of this draft when it's all said and done too.
Yeah, that's who I think the Hawks should have picked. That's why I gave them a low grade.
I can understand that.
I think he's gonna be really good. I'm trying to think. So
with him, like, where does he fall in this rotation? He's just gonna have to come off the bench, I think, and just be like a shooter, I guess. But
yeah,
they just have so many young pieces. I think they're just gonna have to make up some decisions.
They still have Fred, right? Fred VanVleet. I think, this is a good spot for him where he can learn. He's got talent.
For sure.
He's been good in the summer league. So I really like this pick. They took the best player in the draft, I think. Best college player for sure. So
he's young.
Yeah, he's young. He's
The
freshman,
height hasn't seemed to
Kentucky.
been. Kentucky produces good guards.
They do. Last Cal Kentucky run.
For sure, yeah.
And then just wanted to make a note about Dante. I think that's a good sneaky signing, especially if he's going to actually make the team and replace Boban. We saw him in the tournament, and I was watching him in the Pac-12 tournament. That dude is dominant in the paint. I think he was in school for a while, so he could be a good experienced piece. He can come ready to play. So I gave them a B plus, basically because they just used their draft picks. They didn't really add much else to the team.
And they flipped that. I think it was the Nets pick for James Harden. I think they have their picks back now.
Oh yeah, they did do some weird shit to like try and get KD. I guess we
Yeah,
we could touch on that.
I don't know. Don't do that.
All right.
Stay young. We don't need to touch on that. All right, moving on.
So I like where they're at. Ime, my boy Dylan Brooks, Rockets playing this year. Let's see.
They'll be there.
Indiana. This one is a little more quiet. So they re-signed Pascal and Obi Toppin to ridiculous deals. Especially Pascal's was really egregious, I think, right?
I like the deal. I don't like the deal, but it's not I get it. It's worth it. I think he's their second best player.
Yeah, I just don't like watching the Celtics series. I feel like he didn't really make an impact. I know. Well, I'm looking at the stats.
Who did though?
I guess
Besides Andrew Nemharm.
He gives you 21, 7, and 4. I don't know. I didn't know if I love that one. Obi Toppin, they found something there. We were able to make him better, so that's fine. Through the draft, we can talk about it really quick. They had Johnny Furphy at number 35.
Yeah, I think that was a really good pick.
Yeah, I like him. KU. I like guys who go to big schools and play like in pressure moments. So I really like this pick. Although he's probably gonna have to sit a while behind like Neesmith and those people in the world of the Pacers, but
yeah.
in free agency, they go get James Wiseman, and they lose Jalen Smith, who we talked about. Doug McDermott gives you 5 points somehow. Quentin Jackson, James Johnson, Oscar Tshiebwe, low-key go Oscar Tshiebwe, and then Isaiah Wong. So you want to touch on, where do you think James Wiseman, do you think he can contribute to this team? No.
They still have whoever they picked in last year's draft, I forget his name, at 7. It was like the switch with Bilal Coulibaly or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I forget his name, but he's got potential. I think he'll be good. And then they got Benedict Mathurin coming back from injury. Like, I think they're going to be around the same next year.
I don't think they're going to make the ECF, East Conference Finals.
Definitely not. This was a fluky run for them.
Yeah, I don't think...
I expect them to be like 4 to 6 seed.
I don't think they're going to be top 4 if everyone stays healthy. I'm thinking it through. Like, Milwaukee's going to be back. But keep on doing it yourself. Young players will get better. Halliburton.
Yeah, hopefully Halliburton off an injury will finally be back to himself too. They were in the freaking what's that called? The tournament finals.
In-season tournament.
Yeah, they beat the Celtics. I know that there was that weird call with the Jaylen Brown hit on the head, but I don't know. Yeah, I gave him a B. I don't know.
I gave him a C. The only thing I really liked was the Furphy pick. I like re-signing Obi, but I thought the Pascal thing, you have to do it, but I don't know if he's really a good number 2 option on a championship team. I think trading Wiseman for Jalen Smith is bad. James Wiseman I don't think is good. I think his numbers were inflated because he was in Detroit.
Yeah.
And then they lost James Johnson. Gives you experience. Oscar Tshiebwe, letting him walk for right now. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. He's going to be good one day. Trust. So I just see mid.
Yeah, fair.
Moving to another bigger team, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. So first thing I want to touch on quickly, they re-signed James Harden. I don't know what that deal ended up looking like.
It was a fair deal.
Fair,
he's a little old, but
yeah, he's old. He knows he's old. He's him like Russell Westbrook. He has accepted his role. Gave you 17, 5 rebounds, 9 assists last year. So him and Kawhi moving forward, that's going to be the core. Also re-signed Kai Jones, GOAT Life. Listen to his podcast. That was a good hour of listening. So I'm rooting for Kai Jones. And then they did have one draft pick, Cameron Christie. Do you know anything about him?
Max Christie's brother, Big Ten. He's a shooter.
Okay.
He'll probably actually get minutes.
He will get minutes. So they add...
I'm about to go off, so you say whatever you say.
They add Mo Bamba, who I didn't have stats for because he doesn't do shit anymore. Nick Batum, 5 points. Derek Jones, 9 points. Kevin Porter Jr., 15 points, who I'm sure you're fond of. Recently in the Russell Westbrook trade, they pick up Chris Dunn. And then...
My legend!
PC legend, obviously. And then their losses, the major loss being Paul George. They also lose Mason Plumlee, gave you 5 and 5. Daniel Tice, 6 points. They lose Westbrook through the trade, but also losing BJ Boston, Mosa Diabite, and Xavier Moon. So, speak your piece. What are you about to go off about?
So, I gave him an F because losing Paul George already is enough when you gave up that much bullshit 4 or 5 years ago, however long, 5 at this point, I think, for him. Kawhi is injured. He's not washed, but he's old. Backing out of Team USA, I'm like, what are you doing? I just don't. loser, but Kawhi's not a loser. It's just a loser team overall. Because signing Kevin Porter Jr. when you have Josh Primo on the team, like I understand, I'm just upset that these people are even allowed to be in the league. But then you got Michael Porter Jr.'s brother taking his unders on games and gets fucking banned. I understand that to a certain extent, but the Clippers specifically giving people like Josh Primo, Kevin Porter Jr.
Don't say it. Okay, keep
What?
going. I thought you were gonna say Kai Jones.
No. They were in the talks of Miles Bridges. Those are 3 people that have a history of assault in some form.
After you had to oust your own owner, come on, LAC.
Domestic violence is, we don't even need to get into this, but giving those people like them a chance is not good. Like, these people are, you know who they are. Kevin Porter Jr. is a cancer in the locker room. We knew this. He's a disaster. Like, there's no point in adding people like this and giving them a chance. I get it's a low-buy idea, and these people are cheap. I think Kevin Porter Jr. was playing in China for like $10,000 a season, like, whatever. But these people do not belong in the league, and there's no need to give them a chance. Like, I really, truthfully don't understand it. Kai Jones, I think, proved himself. I think he clearly had some mental health issues going
Go
on.
life.
And he's, didn't he?
One of my favorite players in the NBA.
Did he even get minutes after he signed with them?
I mean, they saw enough where they re-signed him.
Yeah, that's not the one. The Primo is bad.
Well,
Not even sure.
I think earlier in this podcast you said Kai Jones was like a bad influence with the Hornets, and I took issue with that. So I just wanted to make sure you weren't throwing him in with Kevin Porter Jr.
You're right. I don't know. I think Kai Jones had some shenanigans, I guess that's fair to say. But I think mental health played a factor in that, and that's totally, that's okay. I'm not against that, as I am against Kevin Porter Jr. and Josh Primo and potentially signing Miles Bridges.
I didn't realize they had Primo. That's bad.
It's just, those 3 are terrible and should not have a job, should be in prison. And
I don't know if Primo should be in prison, but I agree with that too. Maybe I'm not caught up in the case. I'll opt out of this. So I gave him a C+.
What?
Looking at it, you get Derek, looking at it just from a purely basketball perspective, all ethics aside, the Paul George thing sucks, but he's ultimately was a free agent. You can't control everything with that. He was gonna leave, so you try and replace him. You get Derek Jones. You get Nick Batum. I mean, it's they're trying to do something here. And
Nick Batum?
Kevin Porter, when he was last in the NBA, 15 points a game. Chris Dunn is another bench piece.
Chris Dunn?
He's good on defense.
Bro,
maybe I'm just
you're reaching a little.
Maybe I'm just being delusional for my boy Kai, but I thought this wasn't terrible. They didn't besides Paul George didn't really lose much until the Westbrook trade. But I mean, Westbrook is Westbrook. I mean, I think Kevin Porter Jr. is better than Russ at basketball right now. So I mean, obviously shitty ethics, but I give him a C+. I mean, maybe that goes down to a C.
Let's just move on.
All right, we'll move on.
I don't want to talk about them. Trash organization. I think they'll miss the plan. I bet you they'll be 11, 12 seed.
I don't know about that, but I have to look at the numbers.
Don't have their own draft pick. They're done. They have nothing to look forward to other than Kawhi.
New arena.
Oh, new arena.
Steve Ballmer.
If we're talking about the selling seats like we were earlier, putting the butts in the seats, who are they showing up to see?
Kai. No, Kawhi. Chris Dunn. Cameron Christie. I don't know. Well, that's always been a problem. They're the fucking.
All right, on to the Lakers.
They're in the basement of the LA. All right, another controversial offseason. We have the Lakers. They didn't do much, but I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot. So first,
all we really have is the draft, right?
well, they re-signed LeBron.
Oh yeah.
Also re-signed Max Christie and Colin Castleton. I like those re-signings.
I like Max Christie.
I agree.
think he could play a good role for them.
So it seems like LeBron's gonna end his career out in Los Angeles.
With his son.
Yeah, it's been made obvious. So do you want to talk about the draft? Well,
let's start with the draft.
Well, actually, no, I think we'll start with this. So,
okay.
Just quickly, because they lost Torian Prince and they lost Spencer Dinwiddie, they add nobody.
And they lost Darvin Ham.
All right. They lost. Just losing Torian Prince and Spencer Dinwiddie. Don't sign anybody.
Where'd Dinwiddie go?
He's still a free agent.
Celtics.
What was that team I was saying needs a backup point guard? Oh wait, no, it's the Nuggets. They already got Westbrook. Spencer Dinwiddie to the Nuggets though. Anyways, so they lose 2 bench pieces, and then to the draft. So this is this was a hard grade for me. So, Dalton Connect,
I agree. This
number
is a weird grade.
number 17. I think that was maybe the best pick of the draft,
I
just because
agree.
I love Dalton Connect.
He was so fun to watch in the tournament.
Like, if you needed to craft a player for LeBron, I feel like Dalton Connect would be like.
And AD, he fits perfectly with both
He'd
of
be
them.
a high build up there.
Yeah.
So I really love the Dalton Connect pick. I think this is going to work wonders, and something I didn't even think about, or something I've been thinking about actually, was him and JJ Redick. JJ Redick coaching him, shooting, like both shooters. I think that could be really good for him. So
I think he fits well alongside Reeves too.
I'm in love with Dalton Connect pick, but obviously we have to talk about Brownie. Number 55 overall pick.
So when I did this, I said Bronny at 55 could be good, but we will see. Summer League has not looked
Hey, he
great.
had 12 points the other night. Nepotism.
I don't know. I feel for the kid because I think a lot of this is forced on him from the pressure from his father. I think if, like, there were no, I don't know, like he probably knows deep down he should have stayed at school another year. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt 100%. He, literally a year ago at this time, like, went into cardiac arrest. Like,
That's true.
physically, he made an amazing, like, his body is in such an amazing spot for where the condition that he had a year ago. Like, it's not like, I don't know, like, it's tough with him because he's so young and he just so clearly should have stayed in school. And I understand his dad wants to play with him, but does he even want to play with his dad? Like, I don't know. And the fact that he's going to get minutes on this team and he's just, like, the Lakers are not someone that needs to take on a project like him. Like, I don't know. I think JJ Redick going on and saying he's got, like, Lou Dort potential is crazy.
Yeah,
But-
the whole thing just feels like slimy, and
yeah.
I don't like how they were calling teams saying he's not gonna come. Like,
I know.
You gotta be like fair about it at least, and
He should want to play in the G League his first year. Like, that's what a player like him is valued at.
I feel
Like,
that
55th is, I don't know who a 55th overall pick is, but
I feel really
now we
bad
know one.
for JJ Redick because he has to come into this.
I know.
Fucking LA is gonna be hell, and then
he'll probably last 3 years.
so I gave it a D plus.
I give it a C. Like, I don't know. It's a
I
weird
mean,
one
like,
to grade.
Connect I really love, but like you lost bench pieces. It's LeBron and AD are fading. Like I don't know, the possibilities are limited, but it's like you got to do something, man.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I know they're in, like, the Klay Thompson talks. That doesn't move the needle. Like, I don't know. You could argue.
I would like give that, like, at least they're trying to do, like,
No,
all
definitely,
they did was just
yeah.
draft.
I think you could argue that they would have had better playoff success if they didn't get matched up with the Nuggets first round. Like, if they had the Thunder,
But
that might
you
have...
have to play the Nuggets though. Like
Exactly, like, at some point. So, I don't know. I think... I don't know.
I think
We'll
like
have to see.
their ceiling's like the second round, so I'm giving it
Yeah,
a D plus.
that's fair.
I don't like the direction.
Yeah.
All right, now we go to Memphis. So in terms of Memphis,
Are you going to go off here?
why?
Edie?
So, well, I want to start with, we can start with Zaire Williams. We talked about it already. Just a project. But
We don't even need to talk about him.
Okay, I was going to say one of their losses is Luke Kennard, but they did that move to re-sign Luke Kennard, so I'm assuming they're going to end up doing that. They also add Mamadi Diakite through the Zaire Williams trade. They lost Timmy Allen, Jordan Goodwin, Xavier Simpson, Lamar Stevens, and Utah Watanabe and Jack White. Those are all just guys who played because everyone else was hurt.
I didn't even know Jack White was in the league.
Their numbers were inflated. Anything to say about any of those, or should we just jump into the drafts?
Yeah, just go to the draft.
All right, draft Zach Edey at number 9. Not it. Sorry.
I kind of disagree.
Why?
Like, if his ceiling is the player that he is now, and all he does is a threat on defense to just block a bunch of shots, he's gonna get rebounds because of his height. That's all that they need. Like, it's not like they need a crazy explosive player. They already have that in Triple J.
I don't love
Can't
this.
believe I just called him that.
I don't love this pick. I can't talk for other GMs, but 9 feels way too far.
9 is for sure. I think they should have traded up to get Klingon. That would have been the right move, or traded to get some other type of center. Like, I don't know if Edey necessarily helps them much, but I think he's what they are. They just wanted a center.
Well, I think they wanted Klingon, and then Klingon goes 2 picks before, so they're like,
Yeah.
shit, let's just take Edey. Like, you should have traded
Traded back, yeah.
I'm not a Zach Edey hater. I think he does have
He's
basketball.
one of the most successful players.
He does
in
have
college
basketball skill,
ever.
but it's I just don't know how it translates.
I think he'll fit in well to this because I think Ja is able to play with anyone around him, truthfully, and I don't think that there's much pressure on him.
Yeah, well, the thing with the Grizzlies that people are forgetting is they were like a Western Conference Finals team 2 years ago, and they just got hurt this year. And Smart, even they're one of their biggest additions. Who we know how I feel about Marcus Smart, but we haven't seen this team all healthy together, playing together. Ja,
Yeah.
JJJ, Smart.
I think the West
Gigi
is just
Jackson,
yeah.
shout out, he's good.
It seems like they draft pretty well too. So I don't know. The Edey was definitely a reach, but I don't know. You trade back and then risk him not being there. I just don't know.
Yeah. So they also pick Jalen Wells at number 39. Anything about him?
Mm-mm.
And then I love this pick, Cam Spencer at 53. Championship.
Yeah.
Back to back at UConn. Coming into low expectations, probably not going to play for a bit. But I like that pick.
Yeah. Same.
So my grade for
I
the
think
Grizzlies,
they just draft well. Yeah.
I gave them a C.
I gave him a B minus. Just because
I'd probably be at I'd probably be at a B if they moved back and picked Edey. I just didn't like Edey at 9 at all. I did like the Cam Spencer signing, and then I also think I factored in losing Kennard, which they're going to re-sign. So probably a B minus for me now. But
I think they're going to be exciting to watch this year if they're all back, and off-court stuff I think has been good for the past years or so, right?
Yeah.
For Ja, so
I think the NBA is so fucking annoying with what they choose to be strict about.
totally.
You're just gonna let people who beat their wife run free and nothing happens to them, and then Ja gets the hammer.
Jonte Porter gets the fucking hammer.
Well, the betting thing is what it is. Anyways, we'll move on. So we go to Miami.
This is a bad one.
You think? All right.
They just didn't do anything.
Let's get into it. So they re-signed some of their core, including Bam. Brought back Kevin Love, Haywood Highsmith, the most NPC person of all time, Thomas Bryant, and then we'll go free agency first. So they add Alec Burks through free agency. They also add Drew Smith. Don't know who that is. They lose DeLon Wright. Their big loss was Caleb Martin, and they also lost Jamal Cain, Patty Mills, Orlando Robinson, Cole Swider, Cuse, R.I., Alondes Williams. So just free agency. I don't mind this, honestly. Caleb Martin, it seems like it's a bigger loss than it is just because we only remember him for going off in a couple of games against the Celtics 2 years ago. And you replace him with Alec Burks. Alec Burks and Heat culture,
That's true.
I think that's going to be a good fit for him. So I don't... Bam, re-signing Bam, Kevin Love gave you 9 last year, has experience in all sorts of things. And then the draft, do you have anything to add for free agency?
Mm-mm.
All right, so the draft, Khalil Ware, number 15, he's been amazing in Summer League.
Yeah, he's looked good.
I was watching a bunch of his videos before I gave up on trying to keep up on Summer League. He looks good. And then they also had Pele Larson from Arizona at number 44. This could be wrong. This is the one thing I fucked up. I don't know if Pele Larson's on either the Heat or the Rockets. I think the Heat now, but he was a good Arizona guy. If he is in the Heat, if not, then just disregard everything. So I like the Khalil Ware pick.
Same.
So you said it didn't do much. I'm assuming you don't have much more to add. So I'm giving it a B+ for the Heat.
That's crazy.
Why?
I give him a D minus.
A D minus? What?
They
why?
did nothing. Continuity when you're an 8 seed is not they should have done something.
What? I mean, I think Jimmy.
Pat Riley's out here talking shit about their best player.
I think they just need to get rid of Jimmy and just start over again.
This is his last season, I think.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought they were an 8 seed 2 years ago. Made the finals. I don't know. I think.
True.
If Hero was hurt in the playoffs, was he, or during the season or something? I think there's pieces there. I mean, Bam, Jimmy, and Hero isn't a great big three, but it is the big three.
Bam's looked really good on Team USA too. He's had way more of an impact than I thought he would. Not gonna lie.
A D- is crazy, bro. I can't lie.
A B+. Okay, let's meet in the middle at a C.
All right.
All right.
Another Eastern Conference contender with Milwaukee. So their recent signing was Gary Trent a couple days ago. I'm not sure if you recorded that because you did yours a while ago.
Yeah.
They also had Torian Prince, and then Stanley Imode and DeLon Wright. They lose Malik Beasley. They lose Patrick Beverley to Israel. They lose Jay Crowder.
Do we want to talk about that? Patrick Beverley to Israel?
Yeah,
How he got a deal that he couldn't say no to, and it was $2 million a year. Not a single NBA team wanted that dude.
Yeah, well, Patrick Beverley started overseas, before he came to the NBA.
Oh, where? I didn't know that.
Like Greece or something.
Oh,
But
my bad.
yeah, it seems like Patrick Beverley at this point is more of like a mouthpiece than a player. Obviously had the incident with the the Pacers series. Yeah, I don't really have much hope for the best for him in Israel, and go do your thing, bro. $2 million, make your money. He has a podcast, listen to it. Don't want to make an enemy of him, so
True.
just disregard everything she says. We listen to the Pat Beverly podcast. So this low-key, I like this offseason. It's more quiet. But you're not remembering that Giannis and Lillard were out.
They suck together.
How do we know? They never
Doc Rivers. They fired their coach. They suck together. They never once looked good together.
You know who fired their coach?
Who?
The Cavs in 2016, and then they won it all. How about that? So I like this. The draft, they add A.J. Johnson. And
That was awful.
it's the 23rd pick in a shit draft class.
And you take a guy that averages like a 1.8 points per game. That was the biggest reach ever.
I don't know much about anything of this, or any of these draft class. Did he play in college?
I think he was overseas.
Overseas, Luka. Look at him.
Luka was not putting up 1.8. Let's look it up.
They also pick up Tyler Smith at number 33. Anything about him?
I don't know who that is.
So, also they lost Danilo Gallinari, Ty Washington, and Thanasis is a free agent.
No!
So I'm assuming you don't like this one either.
I had this as the worst offseason of the league.
Did you take into account the Gary Trent signing?
No, I didn't. So other than that, we'll say second worst offseason of the league.
Who's the worst?
Clippers.
I feel like you're putting a lot of personal feelings, and I'm looking at strictly basketball. I mean, this is good for a podcast.
So,
I'm
okay.
looking at strictly basketball. You're putting in ethics and
Okay, if we take the ethics aside, where were they this year? Oh, they lost in 6 to the fucking Indiana Pacers.
Giannis didn't play. They're one of the top 3 players in the world. Didn't play a single
And
game.
is the best ability not availability?
So now we're coming at Giannis for being injury prone. I mean, whatever. I think this
Damian
is a good
Lillard
offseason.
is washed. I said what I said.
I give it a B+.
Gave it an F, but with Gary Trent, he'll give him 6 points a game. D.
He averaged 13 last year. He's a shooter. He's replacing Malik Beasley. So yeah, I think run it back. See what happens when you're healthy in the playoffs. If it sucks again, maybe you have to trade Dame. I don't know, but I like the Trent signing a lot, and yeah, you hope A.J. Johnson and Tyler Smith.
Torian Prince, yeah.
That's a good signing, actually.
Doc Rivers, about to coach up. He about to cook.
I think Bucks top 4 seed next year.
Probably.
Actually, my prediction, early ECF prediction, or early Eastern Conference semis prediction: Celtics versus Bucks, second round 1 versus 4, and then Knicks versus Sixers 2 versus 3. I don't know who gets.
Who do you think wins
And what?
those series? Celtics, Sixers. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Celtics beat
So
the
you gave it.
Sixers in
What do you give it with Trent?
D.
D. All right. I give it B+. I like it. I don't know. Minnesota.
Let me find them.
Kind of a busy offseason for
Yeah,
Minnesota.
for real.
So they re-signed Luka Garza and Deshaun Nix, and then
Deshaun Nix is nasty in 2K.
good note for you guys out there. Do you want to talk about the draft? Do you want to talk about? Well, we'll go free agency quick because
Yeah,
they
go
didn't
free
really do much.
agency.
So they add PJ Dozier, Jesse Edwards, another Cuse legend, Joe Ingles, who's not giving you much at this point, and they also traded off Wendell Moore and get a future pick for him. And then they lose Kyle Anderson to the Warriors.
What was that, a sign-in trade or was he a free agent?
I think he was a free agent, Kyle Anderson. And then they lose Monty Morris, T.J. Warren, and Jordan McLaughlin. None of them really providing for you. So anything on any of those guys, it seems like the big loss is Kyle Anderson. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming they can make
Yeah,
that
nothing
up.
on that. I think they can make up for, Nasri.
So who did he punch? Did he punch a teammate or did he punch?
Let me look it up. He punched a teammate.
So there
I
you
wanna
go.
say-
It's probably Gobert.
I think it was.
So
Actually.
they lose.
Yeah. What? Or no?
Lose a locker room issue.
Rudy swung at Kyle Anderson.
Oh, yeah. Well, locker room issue potentially solved. Don't think the Anderson signing is really, or losing him is a big deal, especially when we go to their draft picks. So I don't know how they maneuvered this. I don't know if they had these picks. I was not really paying attention. I was on vacation during the draft. So at number 8, they pick Rob.
Wait, can we just say, when this pick came in, I was watching the draft live, and they said he's trading for 8. I thought it was Cat. I thought they traded Cat for the 8th pick.
Nobody good gets traded in the draft.
I don't know why I thought that.
So what did they trade for? Like, I'm guessing some future bullshit picks. Anyways,
It was like a 2031 and a 2032 first round pick. It's like 7th graders.
Number 8 ends up being Rob Dillingham. I love this pick. There were talks of him going top 3 before the season started. I thought he was really good at Kentucky. I think he's got a really good skill set for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You agree? Kentucky.
Yeah, I think he's a smaller guard, but I think a lot of those Kentucky guards like Tyrese Maxey comes to mind, and De'Aaron Fox have shown that the height doesn't really matter. Like the quickness, I think, kind of outdoes that, and I think that'll be the same with him. And I kind of like the pick, honestly. I see the vision with when my Ohio State GOAT, Mike Conley, retires.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Like, it makes sense to fill him in, and I think he'll have a big... Like, him and Naz Reid off the bench are going to be very big, impactful players, and I think he'll have a really good season. I think he'll have a really good career there, and I see the vision. But I don't... The draft pick thing is weird to me. I don't... Like, that's the Spurs banking on the Timberwolves being bad when Anthony Edwards, I think, would be 28 or 29, so you would think he's, like, right in his prime.
I think they just want to, like, get picks, and then you can use them. Like, all they do is just trade the fucking picks now. Like, they don't really care about because the lottery is all fucked up. And then, so, number 27, they pick Terrence Shannon. So I'll let you talk first. I don't know. He's innocent.
No, exactly.
Okay.
So I have nothing to say on that. He's innocent. He was proven innocent, and I can see that ruling.
Okay.
But he's looked really good in Summer League. And if the texts were saying those fishy things, then I understand the court's ruling.
I don't know much about the case or whatever. I know he's ruled innocent, but I know about Terrence Shannon, the basketball player. Dude's a fucking stud. This is a steal at 27. I know he's older, so the NBA GMs don't like him.
Too.
The GMs don't like him because he's already 22. Oh, dear God. But this dude's a fucking stud. Elite 8, Illinois. Two really solid picks for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. When Conley retires, I don't know who their other guards are, but...
They got Shea's cousin, Alexander Walker.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, like, they got some good guards, man.
They have it moving right. I think next year they'll make the finals. Like, I think next year is their... Whoa. Like, I just think they have it right, but I think the CBA is going to come into question here, and they're going to have to choose if they want Cat still, because not that he had a bad playoff run, it's just in that Maverick series, he kind of got exposed, I would say. He just didn't really play great. So, I don't know. There's questions for their future, I think, at big, but they, like, guard-wise, they're all set, and I think they'll just be good for a while when they have Anthony Edwards on their team. Like, I'm not worried for their winning ability, I guess.
I gave it a B+.
Same.
All right, agreeance. On to another Western Conference playoff team. We have the New Orleans Pelicans. So we talked about the trade earlier, but we can talk about their side of it now, adding DeJounte Murray, losing Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, 2 first-round picks, Cody Zeller, EJ Liddell, and that trade. So let's talk about this trade for the Pelicans. I think I already know what you're going to say. You think it's a weird fit, right?
No, I actually really like it, yeah.
Okay, this is another person I was talking to then. I like it too. Who's their point guard before this? Like, I think this is
McCollum, I think, was running the 1.
Yeah, send McCollum back to the 2. You got him, Zion,
Yeah.
BI could possibly be traded. So this might age well, but it doesn't seem like there's much traction on that right now.
Yeah, I
really
liked the trade a lot.
On the Hawks side, I said I didn't think they got enough, so Pelicans didn't give them shit.
Dyson Daniels is pretty good.
Yeah, that was the one guy where there could be something, but I like this trade a lot for the Pelicans. I think this is a team to watch moving forward. I think they could slowly creep up the standings a little bit.
I hope Zion stays healthy. He's just so fun to watch. I was thinking about if there's a college basketball video game, who would the cover be? Zion.
Well, it would be like somebody. It would be like
if it's not like current, yeah.
So what else they did? We'll talk.
What was their draft? I don't even know.
Well, we'll talk about the rest of free agency. So they had Daniel Tice to replace
Good pickup.
Jonas Valanciunas.
We love Tice around here.
Big loss in Jonas Valanciunas. stated. He's really good.
True.
They also lost Najee Marshall, who we touched on before. So a little bit of a rough free agency just because they lost 2 decent pieces and really only got back Tice and Jamal Cain, who I don't know who that is. And then in the draft, they add Carlo Matkovic in the second round, number 52, and they add Yves Missy,
Oh,
number 21.
that was my sneaky pick. He's
You like
like a
him?
mini Giannis, yeah.
Does he overseas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, he was at Baylor.
Baylor. Oh, he was Baylor.
He was Baylor, yeah.
I don't know much about him.
I think it was a good pick. And he'll be like a backup 4-3 for them. Probably backup 4 behind
So-
Zion.
I land at a B+ for New Orleans.
I said an A-.
I can see
Because
that.
I think that Dyson Daniels gives them more room to give minutes to, like, who is it, Jordan Hawkins or whatever? Is that who it is? Yeah. And, like, what's that kid that can shoot it? The Trey
Murphy.
Yeah. Like, losing him gives more minutes to your younger guys to develop, and I think that they, at some point, were going to have to choose between those younger guys, and they did. And I like it. I think that they're honestly going to be a lot better than people think, and I always like it when smaller market teams do the right thing, and I think that this was a really good move for their future. I think, it's kind of a make or break year for Brandon Ingram, but I think that they can afford to lose him and still have relatively the same success. So, yeah, I honestly expect them to be like a 4 to 6 seed this year. I think they're going to be really good.
I agree.
All right.
Back to the East Coast.
Are we now in New York?
Yeah, another huge offseason. We have the New York Knicks. So first, we'll go over the re-signs. So they're able to retain OG, and they're also able to retain Jalen Brunson on a very team-friendly deal. So I love it for Jalen Brunson. As much as I fucking hate New York basketball, I don't really give a shit about them because I hate the Warriors right now. Jalen Brunson, love him. Just really easy to root for. And so I really like this idea by him of doing it in basketball. We've only seen it done with football where they take less money. Brady did it for years in football, and some guys are starting to do that in football. So I love this from Jalen. Interested to see how this all turns out. OG, bringing him back obviously is good. Before we get dive into the Bridges trade, I don't know. Love those 2 re-signings.
Yeah, for sure. The Brunson extension is great, and he like embodies the Knicks. Like he's just great for that team. I know that's like the Celtics' biggest rival, quote unquote, I guess, and I can see why. But he's just so fun to watch, and he like embraces that whole culture. And their podcast is funny. I'll give it to him.
I've seen some clips. So adding free agency / trades, we have the Mikal Bridges trade. So we can talk
It's
about
Mikal.
Michael, I'll get fucking roasted again for mispronouncing.
We probably been mispronouncing this whole time.
I know. My friends last night were making fun of me for mispronouncing everything. So Mikal Bridges, 20 points. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
All right, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. They also got Katie Bates Diop in that trade, and
Yeah.
then give away Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yep.
And Diakite.
All those picks too.
All 5 first-round picks. So once again, I always can give an NBA team especially credit for taking a big swing. I think this is a good trade for them. Obviously, the camaraderie and chemistry is really there with the Villanova boys. Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo.
We know they can win.
Bridges, yeah, they've won championships together in college. So I really like the trade. Sometimes you have to give up 5 first-round picks, and if you're going to be one of the top teams in the East, who gives a fuck about picks? So yeah, I think we already talked about it a little bit with the Nets.
Yeah.
But
So I gave them a B+ because they drafted Tyler Kolek. Oh, do you want to get into the draft stuff first?
yeah, so there's other things we can talk about too before the grades. So they pick Pacome Dadiet at number 25. Don't know who that is. Tyler Kolek at 34, and then Ariel Hookporty at number 58. And then in free agency, they lose Alec Burks. They lose Precious Achua, who's I think still a free agent. They lose Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah. So that I think like adding all these wings and re-signing all these wings, but losing your 2 centers, like those were really the only 2 centers in their rotation.
Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, but he's not great. Just got no. He's not that he's not great. Didn't he just get a major surgery?
Maybe.
Like I think he came back for the playoffs and then got hurt again. I don't know. I think the major surgery was before he came back though. So I don't know where his health status is at right now. But I don't know. Their center is going to be a big question mark when you go up. Like Giannis is going to annihilate them if that's what the matchup is. Oh, Embiid will annihilate them. They're just gonna have no one to counter. I think.
OG,
Like,
or is he's not?
he's not tall enough. I don't think. Like Randall, I just don't think has proven enough to say that he's like able to do that defensively. So, I don't know.
Well, I think they can also, like, now that they have all these forwards, like, maybe you trade an OG if, like, things are going, like, if you need a center, like, trade OG for, like, I don't know, Cat, if he's still in the trade market, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
No,
like,
that's fair.
they can find somebody out there. I landed at an A for this. I just really like this offseason, taking big swings. I love the draft pick of Kolek, especially, Rhode Island pride. I think Hartenstein is an overrated pay for the Thunder. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but I don't think that they had the money to pay for that, and the way it all shook out, I don't think they were in that market. I forgot to mention they had Campaign, good backup guard who's got experience. So I landed an A. This is one of my favorite off seasons index.
Yeah, I gave him a B plus just because I think like Woe's tweeting that the purpose of all these wing additions, whatever, was to compete with the Jays. I thought was just weird. Like I don't.
Well, Woj is like I'm Team Shams, but Woj is like a weird like mouthpiece. Like you have to remember when these people are tweeting out this news, like there's like people like there's like sources behind them that are trying to push agendas and shit.
I don't know.
Especially with Shams and the Shams.
I don't know. I just
Shams,
think,
quit your fucking job at FanDuel, bro.
yeah, that shit's crazy.
That
He's gonna get
sucks.
sued. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the center spot is gonna be a
I
big
agree.
hole
That's why
for
I didn't
them.
give A plus. I don't know where their bigs are. I mean, you got Mitch, but you need to. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll go out and sign somebody. I mean, as I said before, you can always
Who
trade
like what is their starting rotation at this point? Brunson?
DiVincenzo or
No, it's got to
Hart.
be DiVincenzo on the bench, right?
Hart, and then Bridges, OG.
Randall.
Oh, fuck, they got an
I
embarrassing
know.
riches.
I don't know who they start.
Send,
I mean, it doesn't
send
matter.
Randall to the bench, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, so
Send
I
him
liked
to
it.
China.
I forgot they fucking had Randall, so there you go. Hey,
Yeah,
I think Eastern Conference. Well, them versus Sixers. We'll see what happens.
bro. My
Um,
stomach. Do you hear my stomach?
No.
It's grumbling. I'm hungry. If this is catching it though. Anyways.
Okay. Moving on to another Western Conference contender, Oklahoma City, who I just said we'll talk about, and here we are talking about them next. So they re-signed Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins. Any thoughts on that?
I love Aaron Wiggins. Underrated.
Why?
I think he's a really good player.
Okay. Well, they
Just
Go.
wait for what I'm about to pull up.
we're looking at Chet Holmgren's Snapchat story.
He's eating good, guys. Chat, please don't unadd me for showing this. It's just food. Nothing to it. Alright.
He added you back.
Yeah.
You talked to him ever?
Nah. In like 7th grade, he added me back. Actually, ready?
Did you ever message him?
Nope. We just been sitting here as friends. Story viewers, some may say, actually.
Did he view your story?
Yep. He added me back August 15th, 2019.
Wow.
Yep.
I feel like I didn't know this, or I forgot about it.
If anyone
Hit him up.
wants...
Text him. Say, what would you grade off season? No, don't. do
No,
that.
I have to stay...
Yeah, you have to stay low key. I guess.
Yeah.
All right, respect.
I'll strike when it's right. Like, if he ever wins a championship, I'll be like, congrats, bro.
All right. So besides the re-signs, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, fine. I think they got
Yeah.
good money. Fine.
Makes sense.
So let's talk about the Caruso trade for them. Great trade, I think, for them.
Mm-hmm.
Giddy, unplayable, as you said, didn't fit with their team. They kind of have that tougher exterior. So Caruso coming off the bench, give you 10 points, play really good defense.
I don't think Caruso comes off the bench. I think Dort comes off the bench now.
I'm a Dort guy, so I want Dort to start,
Mm.
even though I like Caruso too. So I like this trade a lot for them. And then we'll get into free agency. They had Isaiah Hartenstein. They let Gordon Hayward walk, who seems like he's done in the NBA. So yeah, the Hartenstein deal I don't love for them. Thought it was kind of what? You know?
I disagree.
The money was ridiculous. Like he's a good
yeah.
player, but it's like.
But that's like that was the biggest gaping hole in their roster was that Chet is clearly a 4. He's not able to rebound like that. He just does not, even though he's like fucking tall as hell. And I love you, Chet. We're besties for real. He's just the rebounding just wasn't there. Like the team rebounding overall just wasn't there. And Hartenstein brings exactly that.
Well, they also did like some sort of scam deal where they like can get off his money and like pay Shy and shit. So good for them.
Shay, bro. What the hell?
SGA.
That just took me a minute that you said shy.
SGA.
What the?
I already got roasted for SGA before, so SGA, my brother. I like SGA. I like their team. Yeah.
I like SGA too. I think he's MVP next season.
They also, of course, use some of their draft capital. They pick up Nikola Topic, which is funny that we now have Nikola Jovic, Jokic, and Topic. Like, all these names look pretty similar. Dylan Jones at 26, AJ Mitchell at 38. I think Dylan Jones was Texas, right? I don't know. Anything on any of the draft picks?
I don't know how they have the roster spots for all of these people, truthfully. I don't know how they have this many picks still. So Dylan Jones did indeed go to Weber State, so you're really off here.
I was thinking Dylan Disu, sorry.
Yeah, I don't... Topic is injured, so he's not going to play for the whole first year.
They probably love that.
Yeah, that's probably what they want. But, yeah, I don't know. They just seem like they, in a way, have a lot of mouths to feed at this point, but I don't think that any of these younger guys, like the ones that they just drafted, are going to play at all.
I gave it a B+.
I gave it an A+. They're the clear favorites in the West.
I was actually going to maybe bet on that.
Who do you think beats them?
Um,
Timberwolves, I think, will beat them in the playoffs, but I think on paper, they're the favorites.
I subscribe to the theory that you need to like go through battles before you like make it through, and maybe like going to the finals and losing. I could see it. I was actually gonna maybe bet on them to go to the finals, but I didn't. But yeah, I think the Western Conference is overrated, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, B+. I just overpay on Hardenstein, I think. I did love the pickup though. Caruso, I just didn't know anything about the draft. Didn't really lose much, so probably should be like an A-. But good offseason for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, they still have all those picks too, which is just crazy.
Yeah, well, Sam Preston, his picks, he's gonna have like a million. Moving on to Orlando, back to the East, we have Magic. So they're gonna re-sign basically a lot of their players: Franz and Mo Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, Gogo Bitadze, Trevelyan Queen. So what do you think about all these contracts? I know some people didn't like the Franz Wagner.
Yeah, I don't. What are your thoughts on that? There's a bit of overpay. I guess he had a sophomore slump, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, it's like he's a young guy. He's a young guy. I don't.
In his second year.
People were like shitting on him for the playoffs, but it's like he's been in it for 1 year. If it becomes a Harden situation, then you can just get off. Like I think
shooting was never like his strong point either, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. You got to pay your young guys what you can.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when you're in Orlando and you have no fucking like Orlando's considered a small market team, right? So go do that.
I think that those GMs are gonna look at Paolo and Franz as like a Jalen and Jason, whereas like they're gonna try to develop them like that, like build in pieces around them to see what works to try to contend. Which it's not a bad approach. I just don't know if Franz is at the level. If we're saying Tatum is Paolo or Paolo's Tatum, I don't know if Franz is where Jalen was in his second year. So we'll see. I don't know. That's it on the Franz stuff. Yeah, like nothing to say about Franz really.
Keep your guys like it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Gary Harris re-signed good.
Yep.
Bitadze or whatever re-signed.
Do you have anything to say about Jonathan Isaac?
No.
Okay. So free agency, they add KCP, huge contract, big ad, and then they lose Markelle Fultz, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. They also lose Okiki, high draft pick, Admiral, Schofield, Kevin Harris, and Joe Ingles. So I like the KCP ad. Fultz, I want him to succeed. I just don't know if here's a spot. I'm hoping he signs somewhere else. So I really like that move for them. KCP brings in another forward that can guard and do everything they need to do. I'm still waiting on them to make like a big splash, but I know like this offseason there wasn't really a lot of people available. Anything on KCP that we
I think that they kind of outshot themselves against the Cavs, and I honestly they were gonna lose that series. Like the fact that it went 7 is crazy. Good for them. But, like, they just needed the first-year experience, and they got that, like, in the playoffs, I mean. So, they just could not shoot. Like, straight up, Jalen Suggs, not much of a shooter, never really has been. He's more of, like, a assist, defense, play-hard guy. Paolo obviously can shoot, but Paolo can't do it all, I think is what we learned from that Game 7 is that, or wasn't it Franz in that game?
It was Franz,
yeah, well... Throughout that whole series, Paolo was literally getting double-teamed. It was still putting up 40. He's just not able to do it all. So I think adding a shooter with some veteran experience and a championship, multiple, is good. Even though it was a bit of an overpay, I think in some situations you have to overpay. And I would say that keep an eye on them to trade for like a Trae Young or something. I don't know.
So they also get, is it Tristan Silva? Or did they get
Tristan Da Silva.
Da Silva? Yeah,
Good
I
pick.
think I mistyped. Number 18, love the pick. Watched him at Colorado. He's really good. So I gave him an A.
I gave it A minus.
All right, solid season for the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Keep an eye on them moving forward. So now we get to probably the biggest offseason, the Philadelphia 76ers.
A plus.
I agree, but jumping the boat. So they re-signed Tyrese Maxey, they re-signed Kelly Oubre, they re-signed Kyle Lowry, and also KJ Martin. I like the Maxey thing. I think he waited so they got more money or something. Oubre has been solid bench piece. Lowry, good experience. Good, all good there. Maxey
Love Maxey, yeah.
gonna be like a top 20 player someday if he isn't already.
He's not, but yeah.
And then through free agency, they add probably the most, at least like impact. They get Andre Drummond, Paul George, Caleb Martin, and Eric Gordon. Through that, they do lose Buddy Hields, Tobias Harris, Covington, Batum, Campaign, D'Anthony Melton. They had to put Paul Reed on waivers. They also lose Rhode Island legend Jeff Dowden, Mo Bamba, and Terquavion Smith. So just through free agency, and we'll talk about their draft in a second, but I like this a lot. Paul George, I think they're going to ECF versus Celtics. I know playoff P, but I don't know. I think he fits in well with what they're trying to do. Definitely an upgrade over Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I think on paper it looks well. We learned that the big threes aren't the move right now. So I'll be interested to see that. I don't know if it's definitely a big three, but I don't know if it's like to the caliber of Beal, Booker, and Durant. But yeah, I think he fits in well, and he'll play well with Embiid. He's old, so there's question marks there already. Injury concerns, obviously, with 2 out of their 3. I don't know. We'll have to see, but on paper it looks good. I think it was a good trade for a team that hasn't really made many splashes like that other than just getting rid of Ben Simmons at whatever cost. So James Harden didn't prove out to really work there, so we'll see.
Keep bringing people in, someone will work.
Yeah, I like the Kelly Oubre re-signing though. He was underrated this season for them, I think.
They got really good depth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the Celtics are still a step above, but we'll see. I think at pretty much every position, they're looking good. So yeah, and then we'll talk about the drafts. The number 1 meme pick, Jared McCain, goes 16. I think Jared McCain's really good at basketball. I think this is a really good pick for them. You don't like it?
No.
Why?
I think he's the exact same as Maxey, and they're just.
He's not he's more of a shooter than Maxey. I feel like Maxey's more ball handling.
Do you think McCain is starting at the 2?
No.
Who is?
Caleb Martin.
At the 2? I don't know. My
Maxey,
thing is that
Lowry starts. I don't know.
I just think they're both so small that they're both gonna get hunted on defense, and that's just gonna, their just guard play defensively is gonna be an issue for them, I think. But when you have Paul George and you have Embiid, who's obviously tall and able to block shots, it maybe won't be an issue. But
they got length too, Caleb.
Yeah, I like the Caleb Martin signing, even though I don't know if he really does much for them. But
Oubre. They have Eric Gordon. He could start at the 2.
True. Okay. True. Yeah, I don't know. I like Jared McCain. He's looked pretty good in summer league too.
Yeah, I've seen some clips. All right, I've watched some videos. So we already said A+.
Yeah,
you agree?
for sure.
I think it's the best offseason of all the teams. Back out west, we go to Phoenix. Stuck in purgatory. Just got swept. So they're gonna go ahead and re-sign Royce O'Neal, Damian Lee, Bol, and Josh Okogie. Anything on any of those guys?
No.
Yeah, Royce O'Neal, good bench piece. Damian Lee was surprised.
Okogie was kind of good in the Timberwolves. He gave him a spark in game 3 or whatever.
Surprised to see that Damian Lee was averaging 8 points, but good for him. Guess really talking about ads. Well, really it's the draft, and then they lose Eric Gordon. We just talked about him a little bit, but sad to see, or not sad, but bad for them to go, or for him to leave, because he gives you 11 points. He's a shooter, probably would help their team, but with Beal and Booker, it probably just makes sense for him to go. So, also they lose Drew Eubanks, Saban Lee, Isaiah Thomas, Ish Wainwright, Thaddeus Young, Azubuike. They signed Monty Morris and Colin Gillespie. Neither of them really produced last year, but I guess you're just throwing darts at the wall. And then to the draft, they also did sign Mason Plumlee, 5 and 5. Through the draft, they had Ryan Dunn,
Good pick.
Good pick. Virginia, right?
Yep.
Yep. And then Oso Ikadara at 40, also another good pick. Marquette played with Kolek, he's solid. So yeah, I mean we can kind of speed run this one. I gave it a C plus.
Same.
Like
I don't
fine.
think they got worse or better. Like they're still just.
I want to see what they do next year. I know a lot of people are giving up on it. I want to see what happens. I think there could be a chance that somehow works out, but looking like right now it's more than likely not going to. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's it with them. Not much to say.
All right. Well, on to Portland. Another rebuilding team, so they're going to go ahead and re-sign Justin Minaya, and then they make a trade for Denny Advia, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, young guy.
Good player.
Yep, they give away Malcolm Brogdon,
Bye.
14th pick, it's first in 2029 and 2 seconds. So I really like this trade. What?
Did you just hear my stomach, yo?
Yeah. I really like this trade for them.
Agreed. I think it was random on the Wizards side. I didn't really understand getting rid of Denny.
Yeah.
But good for them.
Seemed like a weird thing.
I know.
But I mean, if you're the Trailblazers, you take that call and do
for
it.
sure.
So I like that. And then in the draft, they also pick up Klingon at number 7, which I think is a steal.
Yep.
So I really like this offseason for the Portland Trailblazers. Keep building on that young core. I give it an A minus.
Yeah, same actually. And I think Ayton's a question mark, but they have so much depth at the 4 and 5 that it doesn't even really matter at this point. They're just kind of waiting to see. Like, I don't know who their centerpiece is. I don't know if it's Scoot, if it's Simons, if it's Shaden Sharp, but whatever it is, if it's like a multiple duo, whatever it is, seeing who works around those guys, I think is the perfect experiment, I guess, is not really the best word to say, but that's just the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
So they're probably still going to suck this next coming season, but that's okay.
I like what they're building over there.
Yeah, for sure.
I like Shaden. I like Simons.
I think one of them, Shaden or Scoot, takes a leap this year too.
We'll see.
Simons, I think, is probably close to his ceiling.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
He's solid though.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll go to Sacramento.
Interesting one.
What were they like playing losers?
I think they were 9 or 10. Yeah.
So they re-signed.
They won, but then lost the second one.
They re-signed Malik Monk. Love Malik. What he gives you 15 points. Re-sign Alex Len. He doesn't really do much anymore. Through the draft, they're gonna add Devin Carter from Providence College.
Love Devin Carter.
So you like the fit for Devin Carter?
Yeah, I think he might start.
We'll see.
Well, he's injured, I think, actually.
They just announced he had surgery. I don't follow PC as much as I should, but it seems like he's a good player. So good draft there at 13, and then through free agency and trading, I guess they pick up DeMar DeRozan, and they lose Harrison Barnes, and then the other notable one was Davion Mitchell, but he's kind of not good, right?
Yeah, he didn't really pan out.
So basically, this whole offseason is just trading Harrison Barnes for DeMar DeRozan and picking up Devin Carter too. Like I think that's DeMar DeRozan's definitely an upgrade over Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes, nothing to sneeze at. He's still a good player, but when you're able to get DeRozan in there, I think that'll help a lot. And I think this team could take like a small leap next year.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah, I gave him a B plus.
Same. So.
They're kind of lacking some good defense. That I think the vision was there for Devin Carter to fulfill that role a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I think DeMar is an interesting fit. I'm not sure if it's a great fit yet. We'll have to see it, but yeah, I don't know. I think they'll probably remain at like 7, 8, 9 area next season, but I don't know. They re-signed their coach, which was good. Or, yeah, whatever it's called. They gave him a new contract.
I liked it. I liked their offseason. I'm rooting for them too. I like Sabonis.
What'd you give? Oh, you like a Gonzaga dude.
Yeah, he's cool though. And Fox. I said B plus with you.
Okay.
So let's go to San Antonio now. Wemby's team. That's what they're going to be known as for probably the next 15 years.
The GOATS team.
Okay. So not much on the action, but some impactful moves. So they pick up Chris Paul on a 1-year deal.
Great.
They end up with Harrison Barnes through this trade that happened.
Great.
Only losses were Devontae Graham, who kind of hasn't really panned out since that 1 year he was good. David Duke, PC, Dominic Barlow, Raquan Gray, Sandro, blah, 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 Chetty Osman, blah, blah, blah. So I really like this. Just the signing, and we can talk about their pick in a second. I think Chris Paul is going to be great to work with Wemby.
Yep.
He gave you 7 assists last year. I'm sure he'll be feeding Wemby and feeding Sohan.
Yep.
Okay. He's okay. Actually, get a fucking point guard instead of him playing point guard. Who else they still have? That other kid, Vassell. Keldon's good.
Vassell?
Devin Vassell.
Oh yeah, Vassell.
Yep. So I like with their
Trey
core.
Jones.
Don't know who that is.
You totally know who Trey Jones
no,
is.
he went to Duke. I know. I'm kidding. But Chris Paul, good signing, good starting point guard. Let him come in here, teach things. Hopefully, he doesn't have high expectations for the team, and he'll just provide guidance. Barnes, good guy to maybe fringe start, if not to come off the bench. So I like those two moves. And then in the draft, number 4, Stephon Castle, and he's looked awesome in summer league. I think that was a really good pick.
Agreed.
Championship experience. Looks like a stud. Another guard too, so they're loaded with Wemby at center, Keldon and John, whatever, bigs. So they're loading up everywhere. They're doing it right. They're rebuilding.
Yeah, I agree.
They're rebuilding around Wemby.
Doing it the smart, right way, for sure.
Anything else to add?
No, I gave him an A.
A- for me.
Yeah. I think they'll be exciting to watch, even though they'll probably suck. Maybe a play-in push. Maybe like a 10, 11, 12 seed.
I don't think they're going to be... maybe they'll be like in the race, but ultimately lose out.
Probably like... Their range is probably like 10 to like... Well, yeah, I don't know. 10 to like 13 maybe.
Alright. We've only got 3 teams left, so let's head to Canada to talk about the Toronto Raptors.
Lord.
So, re-signs, they get Temple back, they get Quickly back, and then the big one, Scotty Barnes. What do you think of the Scotty Barnes one? I know it's controversial, the contract extension.
I don't know. Like, I've never seen it with him. He's definitely good, but I don't think he should be like a number 1 option on a team, so I don't know.
Just, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know, I think he's a good player.
I don't think I watch enough.
Yeah, Raptors are kind of falling out of relevancy lately.
Yeah.
I think Scotty's good though. I like Quickly. Yeah, and then so their ads are mostly for the draft. They will do a trade for Davion Mitchell, but he doesn't really pan out. So that's more of a project. So their first pick was Jacoby Walter at 19. Any thoughts on that one?
It's a Baylor kid, right?
I don't know.
Let me look it up. Yeah, no thoughts.
And then they're also going to add Jonathan Mogbo at number 31.
No thoughts.
Jamal Shed at number 45.
Houston.
Yeah, he's really good. That's where I'll chime in. Watched him play against Duke, and he got hurt. And after that, Houston just went to shit.
Yep. Older.
I'm forgetting who they played in the second round, but Texas A&M. He fucking willed them to win that game. Jamal Shed named to keep an eye on and moving forward. I think he could really do well. Not sure what Toronto's guard situation is, but maybe he could find some minutes there. I like Grady Dick as well. But thought that was a really good one. And then they're going to finish off their draft with Ulrich Chomchi at number 57.
Okay.
What's the update on Jacoby?
Baylor.
I guess I missed the boat on these Baylor guys. Cause
they were a 3 seed, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost to Clemson though.
Yeah.
And then they're going to lose Gary Trent and Jordan Nwora. I think at the stage they're at, losing Trent at this point is fine. Nwora gives you 7 points, so not really a huge impact. I gave it a B.
I gave it a C, just because I kind of had them in the same boat as like the Hawks, and like, yeah, I guess really just the Hawks, where it's like, what are we doing? Are we rebuilding? Are we pushing to contend? Are we just looking to win and get experience?
Well, I think they're more clearly like rebuilding and just seeing what happens, whereas the Hawks are like
they were
trading
too
away
good to
DeJounte
rebuild.
Murray.
Like, I don't know.
Well, I guess the Raptors did the same thing in trade. I guess that's, I don't know. I like comparing the two. I just like what the Raptors did better because they actually like got something for Siakam and got something for OG. Like in comparison.
But they took on that crazy ass Bruce Brown contract. Like, I don't know. I guess they're rebuilding. Like the biggest highlight of their season was when Grady Dick held up his jersey next to Anthony Black. Like they just didn't do anything. Just an irrelevant ass season for them.
It'll probably be that way again next year until Jamal Shed becomes MVP in 2 years.
All
right. Moving on to Utah.
Woohoo! Danny Ainge.
Mr. Ainge.
Mr. Ainge.
I'm realizing I missed something here. Obviously, we'll start with the drafts. because that's where most of their ads on their team come through. So Cody Williams, number 10.
Love the pick.
He looks like shit in summer league. Actually, he had first 2 games he looked like shit. Second
He's
game,
my
or
rookie of
third
the
game,
year
he looked
pick. I bet on him when I was drunk in Ohio.
Why him?
Because who else would you bet on?
Dalton Connect.
You think he's going to get enough usage playing with LeBron and AD? No.
Stephon Castle.
Bet on him as well. But he was the
That's a
most
good
that I bet money on was Cody Williams.
Jamal Shad. Probably has like plus 3,000 odds.
Probably higher than that.
Anyways, I don't know much about Cody, if I'm being real. Watched Summer League. Looks like he can do some things. Not well because his first 2 games were shit. But I know he's been playing better recently, so we'll see about him. Number 29, they had Isaiah Collier from USC.
Great pick.
Great pick.
Cannot believe he fell that far.
Yeah, that seems like a really far fall for him.
Mm-hmm.
Not really too familiar with his game, but
I think he was like number 1 overall in high school and just had a mid-season at USC, as did Bronny. So.
Okay, good for him. USC, yeah. Jazz, they needed guards too, right?
They got like Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, they needed guards.
Yeah.
So good there. I didn't put down the Filipowski pick where he went, but he was like early second round?
I think he was like 32nd, yeah. The thing with him is that he's a good player, and he honestly, why did he get a green room invite? I don't know. But maybe it brought attention to the bigger things going on in his life, and all I can say is that I think I'm the same age as him. We're both 21. Like, I just hope he is able to reconnect with his family, and whether he stays with his girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever she even is. I think the main storyline around him is going to be the stuff on the outside versus his actual gameplay, which is going to really fuck with him for the first year or 2 of his NBA career. But I don't know. I just hope he's okay, honestly. I can't imagine he's happy right now, given all this stuff that's come out and everyone that's talking, and I don't know. It's got to be a tough time to open up your phone all the time and see this crap. Don't really feel much sympathy for him though, because why would I? He's getting paid like $1 million. Just hard to watch, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough situation, honestly. It's like a weird one.
I root for the best for him, but I'm a Cuse guy, so fuck him.
All
and
right,
he also made mad drama by tripping
Oh,
over
yeah.
that guy at the Wake Forest.
Well, he got tripped.
Yeah, but he's like, my ankle is done, and he played the next game. I hope the best for you, kid.
Like, even right now, we're talking too much about him for a second round pick. Like, I shouldn't have even...
No, but he was like, last year, if he came out, like, he was supposed to be good. Like, he was like...
I thought that the Celtics were going to take him at 29, 30 or whatever.
The talent is there, and I've seen it. Like, he's a good player.
Especially if they get rid of Lauri Markkanen, that'll give him a chance to kind of step up.
Now that you're not on Duke, and hopefully things quiet down for you, Jazz, I think this could be a decent spot for you to develop.
And I hope that they put the right people around him to just have him focus on basketball, and that's it. His personal life is going to be like picked apart badly.
Yep. So Jazz, coming back to them, so they traded away Chris Dunn in the trade that happened 2 days ago. Taylor Horton-Tucker is a free agent right now, so that's a potential loss. And then they could lose Johnny Juzang as well. Kira Lewis Jr., I think he was supposed to be good, but he's not anymore. Micah Porter, Luka Samanic, and Omer Yurtsevin. So I give it a C+. You could just hope.
Yeah, I gave it a B.
Hope the draft guys do well, and that's really all they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they drafted pretty well. Just the Collier pick was a B, was what made it a B for me.
Yeah, I probably would move this up to like a B-, B, but like talking it through, because I forgot to add Filipowski to this. The Cody Williams one, when I did this, it was just when he was not doing well in Summer League, so
yeah,
put it C+. So finally, we have arrived to our last team, the Washington Wizards. Funny team to end on, just because they're definitely rebuilding. So re-signs, they will bring back Rashawn Holmes and Tristan Vukcevic. Anything on either of these guys?
Rashawn Holmes and
Tristan?
No.
Nope. Well, 5-5 for Rashawn, always decent backup. He's been around for a while. And Tristan, don't know anything about, but he gives you 9 points. So there you go. Where do you want to start with adding trades, trade and free agency, or the draft?
Start with trades.
All right, so they're going to bring in Sadiq Bey, free agency. We talked about him before with the Hawks. Bookend, actually, first and last team with Sadiq Bey. He goes from the first team to the last team. 14 points, decent signing.
Yeah.
May start, maybe. Small forward. Oh, well, Dave Sarr probably will start.
They just have a lot of people. Sarr is a freaking center.
Clearly I don't know anything about
You're
this.
so not locked in, yo.
I don't. This is why I bring guests on for NBA, because I don't know shit about the NBA. Because I don't watch it. Malcolm Brogdon in the trade for Denny addition. Do you want to talk about that trade from the Wizards side now?
Yeah, I really just don't understand it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Maybe there's something happening that we don't.
Yeah, maybe there was something behind the scenes there. I don't know. They got Kalal B or whatever. I might be saying that one wrong. Who had a pretty good end to his rookie season. And again, it's kind of like the Warriors, where they just have a lot of people on different timelines. Like, they got Kuzma. Poole is kind of in the middle of everyone, but they got some older dudes. And then they got the younger pieces that they should be prioritizing the younger pieces, which I think that they are. But, yeah, I don't know. The Denny trade just doesn't make much sense to me. I think he would have been a really good fit alongside Sarr.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not really sure I like that one. I mean, bringing in Brogdon is good just for vet presence, but it's like you're not like going anywhere soon. You might as well let Denny play out. I mean, granted, there could be exterior factors that we're not worried about.
yeah.
Also, free agency, they add Jonas Valanciunas, my boy. Just another weird one for them.
Spend a bit of money on him too. Like,
He's good though. Like,
yeah,
it's
he's
like
good,
330. Like,
but
that's fine.
I don't know.
I think Tyus Jones is still a free agent as of right now.
Yeah, I want the Celtics to pick him up.
Landry Shamet also, I think.
Landry Shamet.
Shamet. Wichita State, shout out. He's a free agent right now as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I like what they did in free agency and trading. Besides, like, losing Danny sucks, but I mean, Brogdon, he 16 points last year for the 16 and 6 for the Blazers. Like, he can help. Maybe
6 Man of the Year 2 years ago.
Maybe he can guide Poole along and like help out. So let's go to the drafts. So this is 3 first-round picks for the Wizards. So number 2, they take Alex Sarr, and I'll let you take over because I don't know shit about the French guys.
It's looked like trash in summer league,
Really?
but I think he's got good potential. He's really good on defense. Just the offense, he's not much of like a shooter from the mid-range, layup, anything, like just not much of a shooter in general. But I think he'll have like a Nick Claxton level impact. Like, he's good on defense, but people are gonna foul him on purpose so that he goes to the line.
Okay. That it?
Good pick at number 2 though. He probably would have been the number 1 overall pick, but he didn't want to go to Atlanta. So
Good scheming by him to not get picked by Atlanta.
yeah,
So number 14, they take Bub Carrington
fun player.
from Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Don't remember him specifically from in the Hughes games, but I think he was solid.
He's looked good in summer league too, I think.
And then number 24, Keontae George.
Don't even really know.
I think he's been doing well.
So
I feel like there's a lot of George, like, I don't know, maybe, I want to fuck this one up too. Can you look up Keontae George? Because he might be on a different team.
no, yeah, it's not Keontae George. He's on the Jazz.
Did you get pick number 24?
Of this year?
Just look up this year. It's really good podcasting. Anyways, I'll talk through it. Yeah, I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, I gave him a B.
I gave it A-.
It was Keyshawn George. You were close.
Alright, fucked up. I don't know anything about Keyshawn for sure.
Yeah, I don't either. Miami.
I gave it A-. The only thing holding it back is the Denny trade. I did like their return on it, but I think they also picked up like a first-round pick or 2 in the Denny trade. I just thought this was a sneaky good offseason. They pick up Jonas, who's good. They pick up Brogdon, Sadiq Bey, all can contribute and help out what isn't a great core, but could be better. And through the draft, they also add 3 first-round guys. I liked it.
Yeah, I think they're going in the right direction.
I mean, guards.
They're gonna suck probably for still a few more years, but
yeah. So that wraps it up. We're done. 30 teams graded out.
An hour and 50.
Longest podcast of Dubcast so far. Episode number 40. Happy 40.
Woo!
Thanks for all of you guys for sticking along for 2 hours and listening to us drone on about the NBA. Special shout out to Allie for coming on today. Anything you want to plug?
Thanks for having me. Nope.
I'm sure you'll be back on at some point.
Maybe. Go Ohio State. Who's your national championship pick?
Ohio State.
Let's go.
Bias though. So yeah, wrapping up NBA. Probably won't talk about NBA for like 6 more months, maybe, probably more. And then podcasts to expect in the near future. We got Good Morning Vietnam review, House the Dragon, rolling strong. And then besides that, looking to start some other stuff. So as always, stay tuned on YouTube, stay tuned on Spotify. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe.